Hello friend, this is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com. Today I want to talk to you about how it's better to appear lowly, to appear poor or middle class and have an employee than it is to fake being rich. Proverbs chapter 12 verse 9 says, "He that is despised and hath a servant is better than he that honoureth himself and lacketh bread." And then Proverbs 13:7 says, "There is that maketh himself rich, yet hath nothing. There is that maketh himself poor, yet hath great riches." Complementary ideas are being talked about in these verses. You see this is all over the place now in modern times. Of course, this was thousands of years ago when this was written, but in modern times, you see it on display all over the place. You tune into anybody's social media, and there's people all over the place putting on a show of an extravagant lifestyle, indebted to the max, getting by barely from week to week, just trying to look like they're rich. And yet there's people who are rich who just look normal. Now they're not normal, but they appear that way. They may even appear lowly and poor. There was a billionaire who one time went into a car dealership and they didn't want to serve him because he looked poor. And yet he could have bought the dealership 1,000 times over and still had plenty of money. And you see this a lot more because as people actually get rich, as they actually have an accumulation of wealth and the ability to bring in more money seemingly at will, they do what they want to do. So where the poor person may dress up and they're wearing all those brand names and stuff trying to show off. They're going and paying $300 for a t-shirt that's pathetic just because it has some name on that's going to hopefully make someone think they have some money. But the rich person is just buying whatever they want. If they want a $5 shirt, they'll buy that. If they want a $1,000 shirt, they'll buy that. They don't care. They're buying what they want. They don't have to impress anybody. And this verse in Proverbs 12 is so important because it gives you a key to making the most out of your life and becoming as wealthy as you possibly can be and helping other people as well. It says, "He that is despised or lowly or seems to be poor and has a servant." He's better than the one who's making himself out to be rich, and yet he lacks bread. He's going hungry. He's barely getting by. When you can have an employee, first thing, you're helping that individual by giving them employment. But secondly, it's helping you because you are now doubling your efforts potentially with having that other person's time now be directed into the things and the goals that you're trying to obtain, and brings you about even better results because you only have the same amount of time each day. Now you may be able to outperform your employee, but they still add to you. And they add to your business and they help you grow and become even greater than you could possibly on your own. So it'd be much better for you to, instead of buying those clothes that you think is going to impress somebody or that car that you think is going to impress somebody, maybe hire an employee so you can really start getting some money coming in to where you could buy any car you want. And what you'll find, and I've mentioned this many times in my videos, is that when you do get to be wealthy, you don't necessarily want all those cars, those big houses, or whatever it is that you thought was going to make you look like you accomplished something, make you look rich. It may be that you want to live in a cabin in the woods. You just want to have a bunch of land and enjoy the wildlife. And it may be very simple. You might want that multi-million-dollar mansion, maybe so. But many people will get more enjoyment, more pleasure, more value out of life from having accomplishments and achievements, not just material possessions. The poor are always confused in that matter. They're looking at material possessions as the indication of success. Meanwhile, the rich are looking at actual accomplishments, businesses started, products launched, books written, whatever it may be. And it doesn't have to be lofty things. So don't think, well, I got to start a business. You don't have to start a business. Maybe it's just you creating paintings. Maybe it's you writing a book. Maybe it's you creating a new dish and selling that locally. But there are things you can do that add value to the world and increase you as an individual, improve you as an individual, and give you more accomplishments in life. If you're caught up in consumerism and you're caught up in appearing rich, you very often will never actually attain true riches. And this is not to tell you that you can't have those nice things. Of course you can. But you need to really question why you want those things in the first place. You can have whatever you want, so don't misunderstand. But do you really want something that you only want because you're trying to impress other people? So I know when I first started coming into some money and I went out and bought things and had expensive watches worth more than people's houses. And the only reason I was doing that, one, because I came from poverty into wealth, earning wealth, and never had that in my life. So I did what many people do, and you waste it. You just spend and blow through it all until you have nothing left. But I looked back on it and thought about it, and most of that was because I was insecure and I was trying to impress other people. Oh, look at that watch. Look at that car. Look. But you know what? And this is a hard realization, and for very often, people just don't learn this. You can tell them all day long, but they have to learn it by doing it. But I'm hoping maybe you can learn this without having to go through it. But that nice house or car or clothes or whatever it may be, watch, it may impress somebody at first, your friends, but after a while, it's just your watch. It's no different than if you had a $5 watch compared to a $100,000 watch. No one cares. It's just your watch. The car's the same way. The novelty wears off real quickly. And now you have this huge, expensive waste of money that the only reason you bought it, truly, if you examine yourself, was to impress other people, was to try to appear rich. And this is how so many rich people have went downhill, because instead of reinvesting in their business, instead of getting employees and doing things that actually bring more value to the world, help other people, and increase your bottom line, they're out consuming. They're out buying things here and there. Well, maybe this new car will make me feel better. No, it won't. That comes from within. These material possessions can't bring that to you. And you can have all those material possessions, but you have to make sure you're right in your heart first. Because otherwise, all those things are going to do is waste your money, waste your time, and they'll make you feel even worse because you're looking to them to somehow complete you or make you feel better, make you feel like you finally attained some success, and they'll never do that. It's never enough. If that's what you're living for, just consumerism, just materialism. And as I said, none of this is to say you can't have those nice things. Just make sure your heart's right first. And make sure that you're doing the wise thing. If you're just trying to impress other people, you're trying to make yourself appear rich, and yet you have nothing, that gets you nowhere. Live life to honor God. Live life on your own terms, in honor to God, and don't try to live to impress other people. Because as I mentioned, the thing is, they don't care. They're not going to be impressed with it. Some people you'll literally have friends you'll push away because they'll be so offended because they can't have those nice things as well. No good's coming from that. And in the end, any happiness or joy or peace you thought you're going to get from those things is non-existent. Now, if you go into getting those possessions with a joyful and appreciative heart already, then those things will only add to that. But it's not them, it's because you just are naturally growing and maturing and growing in grace, and you're going to naturally get even better and better. But if you're looking for some material possessions to complete you or to make you feel happy or to give you that final sense of achievement, it's a dead-end street. Or maybe better put, it's not a dead-end street. It's a street that opens up and you see there's even more lanes you got to go down because it never ends. You just have to consume more and consume more and consume more. And you must realize this. This is something you were programmed in from early age. You saw all these commercials. You were taught to consume, 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 consume. And so you feel naturally that consuming is going to bring you some joy. It's going to bring you some peace. And it does temporarily for many people. But it's so temporary and so fleeting and so torturous because now you need to move on to another thing. And it's a never-ending battle. But my friend, rise above that. Start looking for ways to live wisely. God will teach you to profit. He gives you the power to get wealth. He will show you witty inventions and give you ways to increase your wealth and to build to a point to where you could buy anything you could possibly want. But the thing is, you'll find with that achievement and accomplishment, walking with God, that a lot of that stuff that you thought you wanted will just fall away. Not because there's anything wrong with it, just because you no longer have the need to feel accomplishment from material possessions. You will now have literal, actual accomplishments. And that, my friend, cannot be taken away from you. Just like when you lay up treasures in heaven. Moss and rust cannot corrupt that. So my friend, today I want you to look and be wise. Have you been wasting your money on material possessions, hoping for some happiness, trying to look rich or impress your friends or just strangers on the internet, even worse? Could you redirect those funds that you've been wasting on things into something that could build you some wealth, that could add to another person to help them? It'd be much better to give away the money than to buy some new car that you don't need, or some fancy watch that you do not need. My friend, really consider this today. Prayerfully consider it. I pray this video was a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.